Oh, yeah? Wow. Huh.
Hi, Susie. Hello.
Yeah, he said, no, I don't need to. If they have questions. Thank you. No, that's fine.
Hey, Digger, man, let's go break the weights down the street right now. Six four, they are. 6'4". That's why.
Jeff, do you know where that's at? Where's that hilltop where they want to divide the parcels? Where's that at? Oh, go up that, behind that parking lot? Okay. He just found one. I missed it.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the East Dubuque City Council meeting. It is Monday, April 6th. I ask that you please turn your cell phones off during the meeting and please be quiet during discussions. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. (26-0401) call to order.
Bergmeyer.
Here.
Dagenhart.
Here.
Fleur.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Roby. Taylor.
Here.
Mayor Digman.
Here.
Attorney Hess?
Here.
26-0402, staff reports, city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. So we'll talk a little bit about a budget topic tonight. The snow 2 weeks ago saved you from a budget analysis back then. So in 2 weeks, on the 20th, our next meeting, we'll be doing the true-up of the current year's budget. So we should have a pretty good idea of how things are going to play out then. As you remember, we've done quarterly updates and approved those, so this will be the final one of those. Once we've got that, then this is the schedule that went out a few weeks ago. Tonight's this workshop. Wednesday, the ad will go in the paper, letting people know that they'll be able to come down and view the budget a week later. On the 17th, it'll be from the 17th to the 27th, it'll be available for public viewing at City Hall. On the 20th, we'll have another workshop, true up the budget, the current year budget. And on the 27th, we'll have a budget hearing. So the public's welcome to speak at that point. And then that night, we'll do final consideration and approval of the budget for 2027. So what I want to talk about today, you've got all this in front of you. Each year, we look at the annual budget, and it's just the numbers for the fiscal year that we're in, especially since we're on a cash-based budget. So because everything we look at is just the numbers for that year, we can tell by the bottom line if we're adding to or taking away from a balance. So what I wanted to do was go through the biggest items and the ones that we've had the most issues with in terms of deficits and things like that over the years. So this is the general fund budget. So the general fund is administration, so City Hall, police, fire, public works, and flood. And so what the chart shows, this goes back to 2022. Obviously, there's lines in between the points. It doesn't mean that every month it's exactly what that number is. But if you go back to 2022, this is zero for the general fund, and we were $900,000 odd dollars in the hole in the general fund. The next year, we had dipped to over $1 million in the hole. July of 23 was when we hit our low point. And of course, there's also a low point because that's when I came in. But since then, this is how we've come up. And what we've made this decision to do is not to try to just get up and fill the deficit by itself, but we tried to pay cash for major capital items in order to keep from having more and more debt added on, especially market rate debt. So this is the orange line represents expenditures for capital items. Capital items, I'll flash forward a little bit here. So the capital items primarily in this budget, the major ones, are vehicles. We bought 2 fire trucks. One of them we bought completely with cash. The other one we did with short-term loan, which I include as cash expenditure because it was just a 3-year note. We bought a new police cruiser, a new plow truck. We did all the work, the initial work on the emergency services building, about $700,000 or so dollars. The TIF other TIF expenditures, other infrastructure, water mains, sewer lines. So that's a sense of what the major capital expenditures are. What's not a major capital expenditure, so we don't have money that's borrowed, so bonding for the emergency services building isn't included in that. Zero interest loans for the fire truck, the first fire truck isn't in there. low-interest loans for the water and sewer project. So if we paid for a water or sewer project with borrowed money, we don't count that as a major capital expenditure, cash expenditure. And, of course, money on city operations, so salaries and gas and electricity and all those kind of operational things, we don't count. So simply put, if we paid cash for something that's a physical thing and very expensive, that would be a major capital expenditure under this definition. And if we use it regularly or borrow money to pay for it, it's not. So going back up, with the general fund, then we started making expenditures, and you can see that we've gone this year. It's going to be over $600,000 of cash going for major expenditures, major capital expenditures. Despite that, so if you take the blue line, this is the cash balance. This is zero, so we are approaching the zero even with the capital expenditures we've been making. But if you add the balance plus the capital expenditures, major capital expenditures line, you get this gray line. And so the gray line this year has now shot up way past the zero line. So jump in and ask questions if I'm trying not to be too confusing here. But so that's the general fund balance. This is the water balance. We didn't do, well, really until this year, funding from the water fund for major capital expenditures in a big way. But you can see that some of this has to do with when money comes in for loan money will come in for a project before or after expenditures are made, and that inflates numbers, which I think is what was happening here in 23. But it remains, this is zero on this one. So the water fund has remained in the black throughout and is also trending upward. This is the sewer balance, and this is zero on the sewer line. So with one short exception, which is when money came in from the state, we've been in deficit in the sewer until this year. And this year, if the state makes their payment before the end of the fiscal year, the end of this month, for the work that we've already done and paid for on Indian Hills sewer project, then these numbers will be accurate. You never know when the state's actually going to pay. But the reason that goes up so much is that primarily Indian Hills took up in the neighborhood of $400,000 of engineering and planning and all that stuff years ago, prior to this fiscal year. And if we hadn't found a way to trim it back to the grant level so it doesn't cost us any money, we wouldn't have been able to recoup the money that had already been paid out. And so by doing that project, even though we took away the borrowing portion of it, so we didn't borrow any money, we didn't spend any of our own money, in the end, we did it all with the grant. So by doing that, we'll recoup the money that was spent in past years. So the sewer fund should pop up and be in pretty good shape. I would also mention on sewer and water, the goal isn't to get to zero on those. Really, the law even requires that we take a look at how much infrastructure we have, how much investment. But if you think about it, every sewer main, every water main, every well pump, the water tower, all those things depreciate year after year. And so the goal is that we should be replacing them at a rate that keeps the overall system from falling into more and more disrepair. And so when you have those, you have to maintain enough of a balance to be able to handle issues as they come up, but also you should be able to, you shouldn't be having to borrow money every year to replace water mains and things like that. You should get into a position where, just as a matter of course, you're replacing your water mains and sewer lines and things like that as your goal. This graph is the cash plus major cash expenditures. So if you look on these numbers primarily come from the other packet you've got that I put in front of you, which is the cash balances. And this is sort of the bottom line of that. And so if you added the cash and the capital expenditures, this is zero. So everything together in 24 was basically at zero, but we started spending a little bit on the capital. So the blue is the cash, the actual cash balance on that line, and then the orange is the major capital expenditures. So what we've got is, since 24, a steady increase in the bottom line balance, the cash amount. This is the overall cash, all funds. So the reason this dips down is it also includes TIF. And so our TIF, for instance, started this year at about 1.7, 1.8 million. We spent on the emergency services building, we spent on the Sinsinawa water main, projects like that, as well as the water main on Highway 35, and then the TIF, the facade grants and things like that. So those are counted in here. As the expenditures go up, they offset this. So we're spending down the TIF amount. That's primarily what this is. But we're spending that money on capital items, and that's what that line is. So overall, when you put those two together, you get a clear line heading up. So that's kind of overall where we're at. We could have gotten into the black with more of our funds faster by doing what most governments do and just borrowing money, but then we would have had to keep paying on that going down the line. So being in this cash position we have, buying the plow truck, buying the cruiser, buying 2 fire trucks, and doing a good share of the work on the emergency services building, I think we've been able to reduce our debt load as a city. So in October of this year, that 3-year loan on the first fire truck will be paid off, and then the only debt on that truck will be the 0 interest loan with the state, which if you got a 0 interest loan, you just pay it as you go. So any questions? Anybody? All right, thank you.
I just have a few items to touch base during my report here. First one, for the alderpersons, we're going to be with the next budget coming out. I'm encouraging you all to drive through your wards, check out your streets, and if you get a list to Bob within the next 2 weeks, prior to the next meeting, of streets that in your ward that you think need some attention, that way it gives them something to work off of. Next one, facade grant program. It was fantastic last year. The facade grant program, I mean, you see the stuff that's going on in this town. I mentioned to Bob to, possibly put something together. So the next meeting, he's going to come back with a facade grant program for this fiscal year. And, the reason, like last year, we put a cutoff date, and that was to get people to get their work, to get it going and get involved and take advantage of it. Well, I mean, you look and see what's happened downtown, and it's fantastic. So at the next meeting, we will have a facade grant program for this year to roll out. And then finally, the last one, Zoning Board of Appeals. We'd had 2 open seats. Delbert Belkin has volunteered to step in and take 1 seat. We still need one member to fill Justin's seat. So we're one person down for the Zoning Board of Appeals. Preferably, if we could get somebody out of Ward 3, it kind of balances out, you know, what we have for the other members spread out through the board. That's all I have for this evening. We're going to move on to the alderperson report. Bergmeyer?
Nothing this quick, Mayor.
Thank you. Degenhardt?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Fleur?
Nothing.
Thank you. Meyer?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Taylor?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. City Attorney Hess?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Police Chief Kovacic?
Good evening, everyone. In your packet, you would see that I put in a cost analysis plan to move forward to go to e-citations, which is electronic citations. Just kind of break that down for you quick. Right now we are handwriting citations, and every 48 hours somebody has to run those citations to Galena per state law. We are in conjunction with other agencies getting on board with the e-citation. So the more agencies that join the program, the less expensive it costs us per year. I broke down the costs for you so you can see what we're going to be spending. We have a line item for e-citations that we can only use the money for e-citations. We get a check every month from the Circuit Clerk of Court for the arrests and traffic citations that we write to get put towards that line item. Give you guys just a breakdown with the added features. These guys don't have to spend much time on the side of the road writing citations. They can write the citation, make the traffic stop that much quicker, and back on the road they go. We're also spending anywhere between 20 and 25 hours filling out the back green portion of a citation for racial profiling. And Desiree takes care of that for us. So that would free up about 20 to 25 hours a month on her end. And it automatically submits it to the state and the proper agencies that require that racial profiling to be distributed. And a side note, just during waiting to present this, I was notified by our crash reporting system that they are no longer going to be online as of June 30th. So we would need to obtain a new crash reporting system. And with the company that we're going to be going with, they actually incorporate that in this price. And that actually sends down the accident report. About every 3 months, Pam gathers all the accident reports that we write in town and then sends them to the state. So there would be no more of having Pam send those down to the state for us. That pretty much checks all my boxes. Just want to let you guys know if you had any questions on that. All of the equipment is already in the squads for the printers from DACRA. So there's really no cost to the citizens unless something goes above and beyond that needs to be added or repaired.
I got a question for you. It ain't really a question because I already know the answer, but I'd like you to explain. Yeah. So in the report, you have the East Dubuque Police Department Summary of Activities report, and it's a great detailed report. But I'd like Luke to touch base on the DUI alcohol, how you see two lines, and you can give a clearer explanation than I can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So in the state of Illinois, there's 2 charges for driving while under the influence. So the first one that you receive is driving under the influence of alcohol or narcotics. Okay, so that's a DUI A2. And I'll try to put this in layman's terms as best as possible for you. Through field sobriety testing, the PBT, which is not admissible in court, it would produce a BAC. At that point in time, you wrote a citation for DUI A2, which is just under the influence. We can prove that you've been drinking through field sobriety, SFST, the PBT, and the omittance of drinking. The second charge that you would receive is if you provided a chemical sample, so blood, breath, or urine. If you provided a sample of any one of those 3 and it was over 0.08, then you would be charged with DUI A1. At that point, both of those charges combined as one. So you're not getting charged with DUI 2 and then getting charged with DUI 1. They just absorb into the DUI 1, and that's what the state charges is the over 0.08. So in the report, you'll see where people tested, which is a different code that we put in for when we clear the case or clear the call. I don't have the code off the top of my head, but if you enter in the code that CADs it in our CADing system, which you are looking at now, that would put it in that category. If the subject does not test, or the test is not back for results yet, or it's a drug-related test, it's on that second line. So it's not 9 DUIs this month, it's a total of 7. So once those, when the drug test comes back, if it's blood or urine, whatever the officer decides, then it would be added to the DUI A1 charge. So it would be on the top line.
Yeah, I just wanted him to explain it so that way you didn't think that it was those two were combined. So it's actually, it's the top, the top line.
Yeah, it's a total of 7 for the month.
I do want to say thank you for this report, though, because I think this is a lot cleaner and a lot better for everybody to look at, where it breaks everything down, that you guys do. So
Oh, not a problem. And I have to thank Pam. Pam was a big help in putting this all together too, and so was Andrew. So it's not all on me. All right, that's all I have.
All right. Any
thanks,
questions
Luke.
for Luke?
No, it's a good report.
I just wanted to say thanks. We had an officer out at the pool event.
Yeah, so this Easter weekend, we had an officer and his father hand out hams at the various businesses down on the main street here, which gained quite a bit of notoriety, and we had several phone calls from the PD, and then the father of the officer received over 70 phone calls thanking him for handing out the hams. On Saturday morning, Dunleavy Park hosted their Easter egg hunt. Officer Schuster went there along with Officer Gray to partake in the Easter egg hunt. And at that point in time, they were letting the kids crawl through the squads and seeing the lights and everything that's in the squads, and handing out stickers, which I hope they were placed in appropriate locations, not on cars or walls or anything inside people's houses. And then Schuster was able to talk with some families in town. And then they don't really see him out in the day very much because he's a night guy, so he's able to get in touch with some of the families in town and tell him their background, and he's got relatives that live in town and they didn't know that, and so it was a very positive experience for the police department that day.
That's great.
That's a really important part of their job.
Yes, I agree.
All right, that's all I have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, moving forward. Public Works Director Van Ostren. Thank you. Fire Chief Heim.
The only thing we got is the ambulance is back. We got ours back to Galena, so appreciate Galena's assistance in that.
Looks very sharp. Very sharp. Thank you. All right, we'll keep moving forward. 26-0403, speakers from the floor. We have none noted. A few people wrote down if needed. So we're going to keep moving forward. 26-0404, consent agenda.
Still move.
Second it.
Roll call.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby, Taylor,
Aye.
26- new business, 26-0405, discussion and possible action to approve game of chance for Riverview Center at Colby's Event Center on April 21st, 2026 in the city of East Dubuque.
So this is just a one-time raffle permit. Didn't seem to be any real issues with it, so recommend it be approved.
If anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm Heidi Zoll. I work with Riverview Center. So if you have any questions, let me know.
I have no questions. I recommend approval.
So moved,
Yeah.
Mayor.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Have a good night.
26-0406, discussion and possible action to approve dividing property at 7666 Hilltop Road into 2 parcels in the city of East Dubuque.
So this is a landowner who's got enough property to have 2 parcels up on Hilltop, and you've got a map in there showing the division. I think it's a good thing for the city because it can get us another house, which is more people, more potentially more kids, more value to the city.
And Chris is here to answer any questions.
Each one's about 1/3 of an acre.
Is this on top of the hill? It is. Okay. I don't see any issue. I think it's,
Any other questions or discussion? If not, we need a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer. Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
All right.
I did have another question regarding a request to change and update the address of that house if possible. Right now, the address is 7666 Hilltop Road, and I understand that I could put in a motion to request a change. It doesn't have to be at this meeting. I just wanted to ask about that, whether or not that is a city council request that I would put in to you directly, or maybe put it on the next agenda. But I've had several requests from some of the people that I'm working with to say that's not a good number. Let's update that to 7667 if we can. So, and then I wasn't sure how to assign an address to the new lot now that that's been approved for the split. So I'm not sure if I can put in a request for that address number or not. So I just wanted to bring that up as a question.
So I think you need to register the plat with the county first, and then we can look at that address, and at the same time, we'll take a look and see if there's something to do about the other address.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving forward, 26-0407, discussion and possible action on waiving bulk water fee for initial filling of Dunleith Park Pool for the 2026 season in the city of East Dubuque. Last year we did this. I thought it was a great thing on our part, and I recommend that, we move forward with this.
I agree. I'll second.
Roll call.
Meyer,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur.
Aye.
Here we go.
Thanks for coming up.
Gotta go out, check that moon out with the astronauts. High-powered camera, we gotta be able to take some pictures.
Thank you.
Thank you.
26-0408, action to award pre-approved March 2nd, 2026 TIF award 26-0220 payment for the other side in the amount of $2,400 in the city of East Dubuque.
So project's completed as promised and by design. I think it adds a nice splash of color to the city.
Yeah. I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer.
26-0409, discussion and possible action to approve Cassell Payments Portal credit card payments real-time in the city of East Dubuque.
So this is a new program that will handle the credit cards for the city. I think overall it's going to end up costing us less than the current system. And because it's Cassell, which is the company that we contract with for our other accounting and financial work, it looks like it'll move more smoothly than the other one, have less hiccups between systems trying to match each other. So we've looked at it, and I think it's a good way to save a few dollars and get a better system.
This replaces what we have now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the cost per use is significantly less, and the cost, the monthly cost is, I believe, also less, right? Yep. So right now, we're absorbing the cost for these. I'm looking over at Pam because she deals with this stuff every day, and she knows a lot more about it than I do.
Yeah, that's part of the software. What we pay each year. Or-
So basically, it's included in the package that we pay.
So so with this, we're gonna have just an overall payment, and then each month, if I'm reading it correctly, it's gonna be about $300.
I think that was,
About $300 cheaper than what the system we're using right now.
Nice.
And with this, I have real time behind it, meaning as soon as the credit card is charged, it goes directly into our system that we use here so that we can see it. With right now, with the system that we use, it takes a day to 3 days before we actually see the payment go through and be deposited into our account.
that generates a lot of frustration in people that they've got a problem with something. They come in, we don't know yet that they've made a payment, and so it's just kind of a timing thing. Plus, it will work with DACRA more seamlessly. So I think it's a win all the way around.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely a win. I mean, we're saving money and we're being more efficient. So I recommend approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer. Taylor.
Aye.
26-0410, discussion of 4 parking spots on First Street to become 30-minute parking on the weekends in the city of East Dubuque. So this was brought up at our last meeting, and I had, said that we would bring this up so we could discuss it, bring it up for discussion to kind of get everybody's opinion. There will be no action tonight, purely discussion, and we can go from there. So,
I'll start it off.
okay.
Why do we need 4 of them taken out? Why ain't 2 enough? Kathleen Aqua, she's been trying to get a handicap parking in front of her business for the last few years, and we can't get a handicap parking there. When we went through this before, the cops used to mark the tires of the cars. That in the past, they don't even do that anymore. So who's gonna regulate it? That's my view, the rest of you.
I think regulation is an issue with it because, we really aren't geared toward this kind of parking. As I understand it, you can't truck tires anymore. So enforcing would be a difficult thing.
If you do it for one, you're gonna do it for the other ones down there. Jimmy's will ask. So if you're gonna do it for one, you're opening up the,
The whole road.
and I mean, what do you got? You got Mike's Place, if he'll want a couple, Jimmy's will want a couple. Lulu's on the other side will want a couple. That's just one thing you have to figure out. If you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it for all of them.
Do it all. Do it all. Jesus. Wow.
Can I say
That
something?
was a big deal.
This is actually something that I did think about, and that's why I asked for spots on First Street. It's not on the main strip. It's off the beaten path. Yeah, and not only that, you're not going to walk into a bar for 30 minutes.
Oh, I understand.
I'm looking at it as we're a in and out business. Most of the bars and everything else on the strip, they're for meals, they're for going and socializing, having a good time. Nobody's going into, except for maybe Mike's and Jimmy's. They do have food that people run in and out of, but for the most part, with Eastside Energy and with Bridge City Collective, people are not coming in to socialize. They're coming in, grab their stuff, and leave. That's not like what Jimmy's does or what Mike's does or what Mo Grew's does or what any other business on the strip does.
I get your point. I get what you're doing.
And I didn't ask for any
business
spots,
side of it.
right, on the main strip. I asked for First Street, which really is only busy on weekends when Colby's has a lot of business. So that's why we asked for those 4 spots and, nothing else. We weren't.
So if we're gonna do this, then can we get the handicap spot for like Kathy Ackle that she asked for?
That problem remains the same, but I think I would expect that Angry Hobo also does a lot of pickup work. So you can get a haircut in a half hour. I think there's a lot. I think most of the businesses on the main drag have a good part of their clientele that would be in and out in a half hour. And again, I hate to pass something that we can't enforce, and I don't know how we would enforce that. But
The other thing, you're just looking at a timetable like it. You want it to start at 5 or 4 till 9 o'clock. So after 9 o'clock, it's
free.
free.
Yeah, right, exactly. And as far as enforcement goes, it's more, how do I put this? I'm not going to be like some other businesses in this town where you park in their lot and you walk 5 feet and they call a tow truck. It's more of a, oh, hey, we can't park here. So, more of a respect thing. I don't necessarily think we would enforce it. You know what I'm saying? But people go by and say, okay, 30-minute parking, I'll park there, go in and out. I'm not really looking to make anybody's life difficult here. I'm just looking to make a couple of businesses a little bit easier. I'm not saying we have to actually enforce it unless at some point it does get out of control where people are like abusing it. You know what I'm saying?
What other thoughts? Who else? I mean,
I don't know, You have the expense of putting signs up, but if you're not gonna enforce it,
That's what I was going to say. We can't have an ordinance that we're not going to uniformly enforce.
We're not taking any action tonight anyway, right?
no, this is purely discussion. We can't take action tonight. It was when they were, when she spoke at the last meeting, I said that we'd bring it up so we could discuss it, like we can't, there's no action this evening, but this is purely discussion and we're doing this so we can get everybody's opinions and thoughts.
Like I said, I get it. I understand their thought process. I get it, their thought processes. But like you say, the other side of it, with enforcing it, and then you got the other businesses down there. If you do it for one, you got to do it for all. I see both sides. I understand and get both sides of what you're talking about.
yeah.
What is that, Friday through Sunday, right?
Right.
So
It wouldn't even
not
be,
every day.
right, just 3 days. I mean, from I don't know, when does our busy time start? Like 10 a.m.?
Yeah, on weekends.
On weekend, 10 a.m. till about 8 p.m. is when we're the busiest on weekends. So we're not asking for 72 hours. We're just asking for a short time, 3 days a week.
What if you took where all those park benches are and the park area out and put your own private 4 or 5 spots in there?
I believe when they were doing construction on the building, there was either a pipe or something underneath that. Unfortunately, I was not included in those construction conversations.
Who uses your parking like in between the building, like yeah, that alley.
Primarily employees.
Okay.
Would it be beneficial to have employees park somewhere else and then walk a little for your customers? Just a thought. And can you make that? Can you get that for like a drive-through? I should look, I guess. Can you get 2 cars wide in there?
Well, we also do have our trash containers, our dumpsters are in that alley as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
And believe me, there have been a lot of days when us employees do have to hike it to work.
Yeah.
I think the idea when it was built was that the employees would park in the alley because we were giving up parking spaces for that alley. So the alley already is taking out a couple of parking places on Cincinnati and I think Wall.
And we do have far more employees than we would ever have parking spaces in that alley area.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the city's already given up at least 2 parking places
Sure.
for the alley. I think 3, 2 or 3.
And by no means is the city giving up a parking space. We're just limiting it a few hours, a few days a week.
Yeah, I don't know.
Any other thoughts? I mean, does anybody? I mean, like I said, there's no action tonight, but this was for purely discussion, just so we can hear everybody's opinions.
I mean, it comes ultimately down to if you're not gonna enforce it, if you're gonna put parking meters in there and then you're not gonna enforce it, why put them in there?
Any further discussion tonight on this topic? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, 26-0411, discussion and possible action to approve Unsewered Communities Construction Grant Program, UCCGP, in the amount of $795,097.26 in the city of East Dubuque.
So this is what I was referring to earlier. This all but around 20,000, I think, of this has already been paid out by the city. And so this is just putting into the state to receive that money. This is where the approximately $400,000 that's already been paid in past fiscal years also is included.
Any questions for Bob or discussion?
I would make a motion.
All right, we have a motion. Second, roll call.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Blur. Meyer.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Twenty-six 0412, executive session for personnel matters. Need a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Roll call.
Blur.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Dagenhart.
We'll go into executive session. All right, 26-0413, discussion and possible action on matters discussed in executive session in the city of East Dubuque. This evening, I need a motion to approve the amendment to the police chief's contract to conform to federal regulations.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur. Meyer.
26-0414, we've already did that, right? That was your presentation there?
Yep.
All right. So we're going to move on, 26-0415, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur. Meyer. Taylor.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
See you, Benny.
7 o'clock on the dot.